Perfect. So we can officially call the meeting to order. Can we get a roll call, please, Amanda?
Absolutely. Board Member Alexander. Dina, can you?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
No worries. Board Member O'Malley.
Here.
Thank you. Vice Chairperson Ketchum.
Here.
Chairperson Harden.
Here.
Thank you. 4 present, 1 absent.
Perfect. We'll move on to the approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So move.
And a second?
I second.
Perfect. Can we get a roll call, please, on that, Amanda?
Board Member Alexander.
Yes.
Board Member O'Malley.
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Ketchum.
Yes.
Chairperson Harden.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. So we can go ahead and open up for public comment for the 30-minute period. Anyone wishing to address any items that are not on the agenda will have a time to speak. Are there any callers wishing to speak on this item right now?
I see Mark
All right.
Perez is logged on. I don't know if he can unmute just to welcome Mark.
Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
We're on
Perfect.
public
Welcome,
comment.
Mark.
I have no comment at this point.
All right.
Whoops.
Perfect. Since we have no one wishing to speak at this time, we'll remain open on the public comment period for the next 30 minutes and move on to the next item or anyone else wishing to speak at that time. So next on the agenda is the consent calendar. Excuse me, guys. Any board members that would like to pull any items from the consent calendar? Or anybody from the public that would like to pull an item for the consent calendar? All right, seeing no comments, do we have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I'll move to approve.
And a second?
I'll second.
Perfect. Can we get a roll call, please, Amanda?
Of course. Board Member Alexander.
Yes.
Board Member O'Malley.
Abstain as I was not here that meeting.
Okay. Vice Chairperson Ketchum.
Yes.
Chairperson Harden.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. So we will move on to our business items. First up is the Atascadero Lakeside Wine Festival Passport recap and event sponsorship for this year with Josh from the Chamber. So Josh, you're all set.
Josh, I'm going to stop sharing this screen so you can share your presentation.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Good afternoon, folks. It's good to be here. For those of you who I haven't met before, I see a few new names. My name is Josh Cross. I'm the president and CEO of the Atascadero Chamber. And I am pleased to be here to share with you the results from the 2021 wine passport, and also to talk about potential sponsorship with the wine festival. Let's see here. Let me just make sure I'm sharing the right screen. Okay. All right. So let's roll into the wine passport. So the wine passport came about because we did not do a wine festival in 2020 due to COVID. And in 2021, we wanted to still do something, but we knew we couldn't do an in-person festival. It just wasn't, we weren't able to bring a bunch of people together in those types of numbers like we would like to. So we came up with this idea of putting together a passport to encourage people to keep the Lakeside Wine Festival name at top of mind, but then to give them the opportunity to go out to visit the wineries and taste, and hopefully join wine clubs, buy wine, eat lunch, things like that. And we feel like for the very first year, it's been pretty successful. We released the passport in June of 2021, and we released it just before we had a kickoff event at the Zoo Garden. This is the very first event to be held at the Zoo Garden, and we had a really fun live band. We had a few wineries, a few breweries. It was a smaller crowd, but those that were in attendance had a wonderful time, and it was an opportunity for us to kind of publish the program and let people know that we were going to be back in person in 2022. The passport generated around $13,000, which for the very first year we feel is very good. And it's just people are getting used to this new idea, and overall it was very well received by those who participated. The passport had 18 wineries, 5 breweries, 2 distilleries, a cidery, hotel stay discounts, and complimentary corkage at just about every restaurant in Atascadero. Further, we raised about $650 in donations for the zoo. So we continue to keep our tradition of supporting the Charles Paddock Zoo. About, I'd say in September, October, November last year, we did send out a survey to kind of get a feeling if this is something we should do again. And we asked several questions, and I want to share some of the responses with you. So we wanted to see if people were actually using their passport and determining if they were just going to the same wineries they were used to, or if they're going to new places. And you can see the pie chart here, with most people visiting many wineries, breweries, or cideries they had never been to. So this tells me that we are helping to mix folks around the county to try new places. And that was the intent of this. So that mission accomplished there. During the visit, did anyone do any of these following things? So of course, we're happy to see that over 90% of folks purchased beer, wine, and cider. We were hoping that they would visit and then make a purchase, so that was great. 27, almost 30% of folks joined a wine club. And this is really great news. That means that we could share this information with the wineries so that they will want to join again, because for 30% of folks are joining a wine club, that's pretty good. People also bought merchandise, they bought food. I'm really pleased to see that 90% of folks left a tip. So all of that is really good information for marketing this in future passports. We also asked folks how much they spent. So the typical response was most people spent between $1 and $50, which was great. We didn't have anyone state they spent $0, so that's good. That means people are leaving with at least a bottle of wine. And let's see, we've got folks, a lot of people also spending 50 to 100, 1 to 2, and 2 to 500. So people were spending a lot of money, which is good. Which of the following benefits did you utilize? So you can see all the tasting, of course, was utilized. We also had some discounts at Alapia and Colony Market, the wave corkage at restaurants. And then what I wanted to promote out to you is that people were using the hotel stay promotions that many of you provided. So we had roughly 9%, we averaged that among the 200 people that purchased it, that equals about 18 hotel room stays over the course of 6 months. So for our first year, we feel like that was a pretty good rate in terms of people using their passport for hotel stays. This slide is telling us that folks are overwhelmingly interested in continuing to purchase their passport. 72% said definitely yes, and 24% maybe, and only one person said no. And that one person thought, he was confused. He thought he was buying a passport to like a weekend festival. So we ended up refunding his money, and because he misunderstood the intent of the program. So that leads us to the 2022 passport. Based on those successes, we launched the 2022 passport. It was released just before the holidays, so people could buy it as holiday gifts. We've already sold 97 passports, which is half as many as we sold last year. So in 2 months, we've already sold 97, which is pretty amazing. We've printed a limited run of 200, knowing that there might be some changes. We've almost doubled the number of participating wineries. We have 4 breweries, 2 distilleries, 1 cidery, same as before. We've added olive oil tastings, and we've kept the hotel stay discounts and corkage. And the great thing about this passport is it's good all year through December 31st. So that is my summary of the passport, and thank you once again to the TBID board for sponsoring that program. That was the first year. It was something we tried. It was something new, and I'm really excited so far about the results we've seen in for the 2022 passport. People are calling the chamber from San Diego, from Los Angeles. They're coming up for the weekend. They want a passport. So this tells me that your marketing efforts, your sponsorship dollars are being seen by folks outside the county. Any questions on this before I move into the wine festival? Okay. So now we're moving on to the Atascadero Lakeside Wine Fest, and this is
I'm sorry, Josh, I do have one question. The length that the passport will be good for will be 6 months again like it was last year? Or are we extending it?
It's good for a year, but we're down to let's see, 10.5 months left. So yeah, it was good for a year. It's now you can use it through December 31st.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, come down and get yours today. Actually, I would love to partner with all of the hoteliers on discounted rates so that you could sell them at your hotels to your customers. So we'll follow up later on that. All right, so this year, we're really excited about the Wine Fest. We're bringing it back live in person for the 25th anniversary. This was 25 years ago that Barbie Boots' brainchild for the Wine Festival started, and it's been going on ever since, except for the last 2 years. And so we're excited it's coming back. We've dropped we've changed festival to fest. So it's now the Atascadero Lakeside Wine Fest. In name only, the website will still be Atascadero Lakeside Wine Festival, but this is our tentative branding for the year. It will once again be at the lake park, at the zoo garden, the gazebo, the bandstand. The whole lake park will be utilized again, except for the pavilion. We have some pretty ambitious goals. We hope to sell 1,500 tickets, of which 30 or more % would be sold to out of area attendees. And I'll get to you how we're going to do that later. We would like to attract 80 wineries, 15 breweries, and a combination of 5 distilleries and cideries. I also want to convey that the Wine Festival is under new management. So in the past, the festival's been organized by the Wine Festival Committee. It is now being overseen by the Chamber and its Board of Directors. And I think that is helpful. We have full-time staff that are paid to organize this event. We've contracted with Gail Kudlak, who's put on the festival many times before, to help us organize this festival. And part of the challenges in the past has been the distribution of funds between the Chamber and the Wine Festival committees. We've sorted all that out so that there's still donation to the zoo, and there's equitable distribution between the funding of the committee and the Chamber. So happy that it's under new management. So knowing that we were going to be putting this festival on in person, I reached out to Cal Poly in the fall to a group of marketing students looking to put together a kind of a senior class project. So I worked with 6 Cal Poly students who are marketing majors to really tear the event apart. They had no idea what the event was. They've never been to it. So they just looked at it purely as it was on paper and looked for ways to improve it. So they examined the event, they prepared surveys, and they developed some marketing campaign materials and some demographic information that I want to share with you. So in terms of demographics, what they found after surveying the past 7 years of attendees is that our average attendee is between 50 and 69 years old, which was surprising to me that it was trending at this demographic level. I thought it would have been more in the 35 to 49-year-old, but this is good information. And it shows that there's a real opportunity to expand the audience to the 21 to 34 or 21 to 49-year-old audience who maybe haven't been made aware of this event as strong as they could have. So Cal Poly intends to help us out with that. It's interesting to find out that while this is primarily an event that SLO County residents attend, that 20% of attendees come from outside of San Luis Obispo County to attend this festival. So we're seeing quite a few folks from Central California, Southern California, and quite a few actually from outside of California. So this helps us determine where to put our marketing dollars to attract those folks. And as I said before, previously it's been 20%, but our goal is to get to 30 to 40% of out of county attendees. Here's some of the other key demographics they found, that it tends to trend pretty wealthy in terms of the average attendee. Average annual household income, 100 to 200,000, with 13% of attendees having an income over 200,000. And most are college educated. Cal Poly made these recommendations for effective promotion and increased engagement. So of course, using targeted Facebook and Instagram posts, possibly through geofencing or something similar to that, using hashtags, using data analytics to determine who's looking at our site, and then focusing on those folks for further outreach. We need to update and make our website more hip and fun, and it's a little stale right now, so we'll be looking into that. We'll be leaning into our 25th anniversary and putting together some explainer event videos of the event and why folks should come. We also intend to do cross promotions with the vendors, the wineries. We hope to have flyers up at their businesses where they'll let us. Hopefully they'll let us do some outreach to their wine club members, cross promotions like that. These maps are really interesting. Using Esri analytics, we were able to determine that the highest wine away from home purchases, the areas that are the darkest red, are the zip codes that have the highest wine purchase per household. So this helps us really target areas to geofence when we start looking for where to spend our social media marketing dollars. You can see lots of areas in San Francisco proper, Walnut Creek up there in the East Bay, and then down south in San Jose. Gosh, I can't pick it out exactly, but you can see a lot of the Silicon Valley areas in dark red there. On the Central Coast, not as much wine away from home purchases. So this tells us that we already have a captive audience with our locals, so we won't be spending as much geofencing dollars here locally, except for maybe in Avila Beach, where it seems to be pretty high. And then finally, down in Southern California, you can see the dark red in Santa Barbara, Santa Monica, along the coastal areas, Rancho Santa Margarita. There's some real pockets there of areas where we should be targeting. We've put together a draft marketing promotion that's pretty robust. And in your board packet, I believe you have our sponsorship information brochure that looks something like this and includes all this information in more detail. But here's a list of all of the opportunities we have to market this event to ensure we capture that broad audience. Event brochures, posters, maps, social media, newsletters. We intend to partner with nationally ranked wine websites, including localwineevents.com, gayot.com, winecountry.com, Yelp, and TripAdvisor.com. Those are the websites where people are looking, so we should put our advertising dollars there. And then finally, the Lakeside Wine Festival website. Continuing on, we intend to partner with many of the local media folks, including the Tribune, 13 Stars Media, the Atascadero El Paso Daily News, and the SLO County Visitors Guide, which we've already purchased our ad for that. We intend to do public outreach, radio and online promotions. And one of the ideas that came from the students I'm excited about is to contract with social media influencers who have large following, possibly outside of the area, to promote this event to their social media followers. What we're proposing to you today is to join us at a $10,000 platinum sponsorship. And you're probably asking yourself, what do you get for your $10,000? And so here's a list of some of the highlights. The first is a hospitality cabana / tent with seating for 6 to 8. I actually see Visit Atascadero using this in a different way. It could be a way for Visit Atascadero to promote the brand through swag giveaways or collateral giveaways, or having some sort of Visit Atascadero selfie station, something like that, that's more open to the public rather than a private cabana. The platinum sponsor will be the official tasting glass sponsor, and the Visit Atascadero logo would be on all 1,500 glasses that go home with everyone and remind them of what a great time they had. The Visit Atascadero logo and name would be highlighted in all e-communications for the festival link. So even if folks from out of the area are not able to attend, they're still seeing the Visit Atascadero brand and logo and keeping it at top of mind when thinking about their next vacation or destination trip. Of course, your logo would be displayed in all print advertising and internet marketing. The logo would be displayed in all event banners and signage. And unique to this, to the Visit Atascadero, we'd like to offer a preferred hotel partner tab on the Atascadero Lakeside Wine Festival.com website with links to all of your individual hotels so that they can make their reservations from the website pretty easily. But wait, there's more. Here's another page. Okay. In addition, we would like to offer a Chamber Chairman Circle sponsorship at the Catalyst level, which is a $5,000 sponsorship package. And this keeps you top of mind, not just for one event, like maybe it's been happened in the past, but this is a year-round marketing package that would really help benefit the Visit Atascadero name locally, and to help, I think, unite our two organizations together a little bit better. So you would get the chamber membership, your logo on our Chairman Circle banner, name on the chamber or the visitor center window. As you know, we serve as the visitor center for the community and act as traffic control when people are asking where they should stay and where should they have lunch, things like that. There'll be tickets for the gala. There'll be a digital banner in the visitor center. Your logo will be placed on our newsletter that goes out twice a week. You become a sponsor of our State of the North County event. You can use our conference room, although I know many of you already have those. Your logo would be placed on our donor recognition wall. And I think you might be really interested in the quarter-page ad that will be located in the 2023 destination guide. It's a pretty comprehensive and robust sponsorship package for the $10,000 that we're requesting. Once again, you get the glasses, the cabana, the chairman circle, and your event logo on pretty much every material that leaves the chamber's office. So with that, I'm happy to entertain any questions.
Perfect. Thank you, Josh. Are there any questions from the board at this time?
Yeah, I have a question. Josh, you said that Cal Poly will help with the marketing in what way?
Yeah, so what they've already finished their project, and what they did is they left us with a series of like pre-scripted social media posts along with some graphics and some language that we can just copy paste and put into campaigns. So that's what they left us behind. We've also contracted with Cool Marketing or Madison Curing to be our the marketing consultant for the event. So we've put together a pretty robust package of flyers. I think it's 20 or 30. Actually, I want to say it's more like 50 social media posts. There's a lot that goes into that. I don't have all the details right at my fingertips, though.
I got one question. I think you kind of covered it, but I just want to make sure I'm on the same page. So it was 20%, right, that were from outside of SLO County this last year? That
in the
okay.
past, correct. And you can see
and then I know you said you were hoping for more than that, but what out of like all the marketing efforts, because I saw that there was a lot of marketing efforts, but what do you think is going to be realistically, how many more do you think from out of the area are you going to be able to kind of bring in, or what are those marketing efforts are you going to use specifically to target not from the area? Does that make sense? Sorry.
Yeah, a good question. And here's how I see it working. So I've looked at the books for the previous years, and I've seen where the marketing dollars have been spent. And I see that it's been a pretty heavily local, local campaigns and media outlets. So I think technology has just evolved this whole idea with the geofencing, and you saw those awesome maps with those colors of where we should focus those dollars. That's where we're going to be hitting the most. Also with those travel website or the wine websites, the winevisitor.com, the gayacht.com, all of that will be really beneficial in attracting out of area customers in a way that they haven't been reached before. We have seen that in 2018, Derek Kirk, who was the CEO at the time, was really involved in the out of area marketing, and it paid off. We saw ticket sales skyrocket that year. So I intend to bring that back, but refine it a little bit more to a more targeted audience that fits the demographic profiles built by the Cal Poly students.
Well, I'll ask a question or two. So again, if you're looking at maybe hoping to get 1,500 folks, at least if you sell all of the tickets, it sounded like, and 20% of that would be about 300 folks. I always think in terms of, so how many weddings is that? So maybe 2 weddings worth of people. And of that $10,000, what percentage of that is going to be spent on targeting folks outside of our area?
Let's see. Of that, I'm guesstimating that my contract with Madison is around $2,000 just in social media campaigns. And we will probably be spending another $5,000 in print and yeah, I'd say in print campaigns, and the remainder would go towards the glass sponsorship.
I'm curious too, of course, maybe Cal Poly students are biased towards that younger end of the spectrum they are proposing to target. I always like targeting old guys that spend a lot of money, but you know, I'm biased too. What do you think? Have you given more thought than just Cal Poly in terms of what is the demographic in terms of, besides who has the most money, who spends the most actually when they are coming in, and what they spend money on, and likelihood of return visits, those kind of things. Did they give any thought to those factors when they were looking at their statistics?
Fortunately, I did not. No.
Well, it would be a big chunk to do. We'd have to pay a lot of money to get that kind of good data. So, you know.
Yeah, it's been interesting, Tom. We've been thinking just around the office, like I'd really just love to see a car dealership have a vehicle display, you know, 2 to 3 cars. But we've been kind of disagreeing here in the office, and I'd love to get your feedback. You know, what kind of car represents the wine festival? And we have all different kind of answers, but without me sharing my answer, I'd love to hear from you what you think. What represents the wine festival?
Well, as long as it's not an ambulance, I'm good.
Perfect. Tom, did you have any other questions or any other board member questions?
I was just gonna say maybe a self-driving car because it's a wine festival.
Smart.
And also with the demographics of people making $100,000 to $200,000 per household. Tesla.
We were thinking electric cars would be something that's new and different, and not necessarily Tesla, but really any auto. I mean, I don't know if anyone that watched the Super Bowl, all the car ads were about electric vehicles.
Yeah.
It would be amazing to have
Electric truck.
cars. Yeah.
I'd like to weigh in real quick, Patricia, on this.
Yeah, absolutely.
To help you guys with making a decision, and we do need to kind of start moving in that direction with time. So $5,000 is what was approved and spent on the passport in May of 2021. So this would be all the things Josh presented, plus the chairman's sponsorship. I mean, there's quite a bit in his package for 10,000. That 5,000 was billed in 2021 fiscal year. So right now, you guys, you don't have like anything for wine festival per se in the docket for the 21-22 fiscal year. So if that helps you all in making a decision, that's what I wanted to throw in there.
Thanks, Terry. Any additional questions from the board right now? Otherwise, we can move to public if anybody has anything.
Well, just one last thing. I'm assuming the chairman's circle is really pretty much focused on locals. That's not really anything that's seen outside of the area particularly. I was wondering, I don't know if Mark Derez was going to weigh in or not, but just as an FYI, you may have already heard, Kiwanis is not going to do the Mayor's Winemaker Dinner in person this year. We're going to put that off a year. We were quite successful last year, splitting it up into multiple locations. I believe we brought in about 70,000. We had high, and again, this is where I think we may, we kind of underestimate the market out there. People thought I was a little bit of nuts because, you know, we used to do $600 tables. Previous years, we've done $1,000 tables. I sold $2,500 tables this year for 6 people instead of 8. And we doubled what we've brought in on sponsorships this last year. And again, I think it's focusing on a different clientele. I'm kind of leaning towards give me a small percentage of folks that spend a lot of money as opposed to a whole lot of people that, don't spend as much. So that would be it for me.
Thank you, Tom. We just, I was not suggesting that we wouldn't target those folks. I was just surprised by the results and seeing there's opportunities to expand the attendee who's coming to our festival.
Yes.
Perfect. Do we have any members of the public that are wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none of that, we can go ahead and close the public comment period. Any additional board comments? Nope. All right. Does anyone want to provide a motion on this item at this time?
I motion to approve the 2022, the 10,000 for the 2022 Wine Fest sponsorship.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Maybe we need to consider a scaled down version.
That's kind of where I'm at with it too, Tom. Do we, what do we do in this sense, Amanda? Do we have to then create a secondary motion? Sorry, I just want to make sure I'm following the right rules.
Well, that motion dies for lack of a second. So there's no.
Okay. Do we have a new motion?
Well, I'm trying to think of what we want, and I would definitely, I think in the past, in such situations, we've always focused on, we only would pay money for the part that's focused on out of the area. We wouldn't, if it's not completely focused on out of the area, we just can't afford it, quite frankly, is how I would look at it. And then I honestly don't think this is the biggest bang for the buck. The biggest thing why I would still support is I think it's a good partnership and we want to see this grow. And it's been a tough time. I think we're just working our way forward. And so I wouldn't mind supporting to some level, and maybe even more on the end of strategic thinking and helping them build infrastructure to work towards this expansion in the future. I'm probably thinking more back in that $5,000 range myself, but I'm kind of open to anyone that has an idea of how do we support our chamber.
It could be 5,000 plus your passport, your second passport, the year passport, because that, I don't know how Josh would really work with that, but that's a thought anyway, because the passport was of interest for you. You saw some results from it. Combined with the wine festival, that might be a way to go. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. Someone else would have to speak on the passport. I don't see that as like a lot of customer. I think it's kind of like, what's the opportunity cost? That is, if we spent the same amount of money on anything else at the same time, would it generate more potential revenue? It's a little bit of cost benefit analysis. And we just haven't given a lot of thought to this area in a while because it's been so tough out there. We're just now that they tell me this is supposed to be a big wedding jump increase. We'll see how that goes. We do get a lot of people wanting to just escape the city for anything to do. And I think we have a competitive advantage being outside. So I hope somebody else has an idea other than me.
I agree with you, Tom. I think that, in my opinion, I think the money's best spent on targeting the out of the area, especially for what we're trying to do here. So I'm in agreement of kind of changing our idea on what our motion is potentially, and still doing something, but making it more in line with maybe what we've done in the past to really focus on those out of area guests.
Yeah.
So just to interject here, so we have to have money to attract people from out of the area. And so I think, so what we could do is a reduced amount that is that what I had said earlier, the 2,000 for the social media geofencing campaign. And the, I think how much did I say we're going to spend on print?
Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of print anything actually, but I'd be open to ideas. I was thinking more in the past, what we've done is more in kind. Like if you've got something good to push, we're already paying for Verdun to push stuff out there, and we could certainly take any information you have, and you've already got some material put together. Maybe we do that because we're already reaching out in a lot of these areas. This is just another thing going on in our area that we can push through our existing programs. And to me, it seems like that might be a bigger bang for the buck. On the other hand, I don't mind. I like the idea of some of the things you're talking about with Madison, that if it's something that we don't do that's entirely separate from what we are already doing that might expand the market, that seems like that might have some merit. I don't think I'd love to be able to afford to be on the chairman's circle thing, but I don't know that it particularly does us any good particularly. So what was the budget for Madison's portion? That was like you said, a couple thousand. Yeah, and there were other components that you thought are specifically directed towards out of area folks?
Yeah, I would have to, let's see, really hone down on what that would be. I mean, we could put a package together that was just out of area marketing efforts at a dollar amount that you were comfortable with.
And then we could bring it back and you present it, Josh. That's a thought. I know Verdun in the past had done some out of market support that was over and above what they normally do for Wine Festival. That was in 2019, and Ashley's on. I just don't know if she can talk to that because she's traveling back right now from Visit California. But that could be something that we come back and talk about too. Ashley,
Yeah.
there you are. Okay.
Yeah. Hi. Sorry. Yes. I just wanted to mention we do have additional outreach that we do specific for the event. So that usually includes email marketing, social media content posts, stories, development. And then we'll usually do some supported social media advertising, whether it's boosted posts. So we're trying to encourage people out of the area, especially our fans and followers, to come to the event. So we would definitely be able to support the event in that sense on behalf of Visit Atascadero.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think we are doing something in any way that's really kind of a hidden benefit to the chamber. We probably need to bring that up more. And again, I'm a big fan of the chamber. I know I've had to cut back on a few things in my little world, though, just because it's been a tough few years. I had to really be careful where I spend the limited marketing dollars that we spend up in the hill. So I think, I wouldn't look at this as really any reflection on the chamber as much as, what really, when you're really making tough decisions, what's the biggest bang for the buck? And I think, and probably it's good future reference, we're always going to be focused and interested in exactly what is going out to outside the area that is something that we don't already do that might, be beneficial, and well, it's probably up to Madam President to see if she gets another motion. I'd be okay with, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Does anyone want to present an alternative motion on this item?
Well, I would just throw out to have something on the table. I would support 2,000 for sure to support the portion Madison is doing, and tentatively set aside 3,000 for future consideration if there's something specific that would fit. And I'm okay if my motion dies for lack of a second as well, but I want something to talk about if we're have any interest in any area.
I like that idea, Tom. I think that's a good plan.
Was that a second then?
That was a second.
Okay, Josh, is
Perfect,
that
okay.
clear enough? Like, okay, 2,000 is done deal, and then you come back with your suggestions of how that other 3,000 might be spent that would strengthen the growth of this in the future. I'm even okay with that, not so much what we get this year, but how we position ourselves.
Yeah, I have to say, yes, and I have to say that's we can put together something for the other 3,000. When I think back to other events that the TBID board has approved, for example, the call it the yard sale was approved at $3,000. This event is so much more than a yard sale, and to approve $2,000, it's I don't get it. I don't understand that.
I don't think we gave the yard sale any money.
No,
We did not.
So that went back and forth too, Josh, and it might have been more of the marketing piece of it, but I'd have to look back. But no, we're doing things like Atascadero Fall Fest, Garage East Festival, Central Coast Craft Beer Festival, Bovine Classic. We're doing things that pull from out of the area. So no, we haven't done that. That too was tough for everybody as well, because they want to support.
Okay, so I believe we had a motion from Tom and a second from Dina. So do we want to move on to a roll call from Amanda then?
Are you still in, Dina, on that? I think that was a yep, but.
And maybe if I could just clarify the motion, make sure I took this down correctly, that the motion on the table is to approve $2,000 toward the social media work or marketing work, however we want to word that piece that Madison has been commissioned to do, with also setting aside $3,000 for future consideration on other marketing outreach outside of the area.
Yeah, that's directed to outside the area, come back with some ideas, and we at least reserve that if the chamber's interested.
Thank you. So if we're clear, then I'd be happy to take a roll call.
Perfect. Yes, please.
Thank you. Board Member Alexander.
Yes.
Board Member O'Malley.
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Ketchum.
Yes.
Chairperson Harden.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. So then we can go into the Visit SoCal Events and Festival Strategy Update with Melissa.
Terry, are you able to,
I was gonna say, I can share,
do you want me to share my screen or?
I'm gonna have you share your screen because I have more of the Word doc stuff, not the presentation piece. If you're ready. If not, I will grab it real fast.
Nope, I am ready.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Hi, everybody. Thank you for allowing me to present today. I think this conversation that you just wrapped up is a good segue into what I'm going to be discussing today. As you might remember, a quick back history. I presented to you last summer about a countywide events and festivals strategy and a master calendar that would be housed on SoCal.com. This initiative that we were trying to spearhead and put forth. Based on the feedback that we received and in the spirit of partnership, we did pivot the project slightly to allow for further discussion. Phase 1 was facilitation. During the month of November, we convened a working group. Terry represented Atascadero, and we had a 2-day facilitation process with regional point people to just hear the thoughts and concerns regarding a countywide events and festival strategy, as well as the master calendar. Matthew Landcomer, who many of you might know or whose name is familiar, facilitated this process. And really at the end of the facilitations, I think we were really all aligned and excited about the efforts moving forward. So now we are in phase 2, which is the actual on getting an agency to help us create this events and festivals strategy, as well as helping us with the master calendar build out. So just to refresh your memories, there we go. The purpose of the strategy is really to provide every destination and lodging community in San Luis Obispo the information, easy to use tools, and collaborative platform to maximize positive economic impact for visitor-related events and festivals while remaining mindful of residents' quality of life. The benefits for the residents is residents are going to gain a clearer understanding of the benefits that events and festivals bring to each community. It's an optimization for the calendar that can seek to minimize disruptions to traffic and parking, as well as the inventory and maximize benefits to local businesses and local economies. This will also help attract or create world-class events that's going to enhance our SLOCAL lifestyle through the increase of available activities. For the county, for municipalities, and for the DMOs, it's going to provide a best practices and strategic direction that will allow the destination the information it needs to make investment and marketing decisions related to its local events and festivals, just like what you guys were discussing with the chamber. The tools is going to be that centralized calendar that can be used on each DMO's website via API or other interface, and we will be able to filter it down to local events without the need for development and upkeep of additional calendars. Each destination will be able to white label their filtered events. That way they preserve each calendar's role in driving the traffic to each destination's website. It also is going to provide for a collaborative platform that it allows for the collaborative strategies for the development, attraction, retention, or expansion of strategically advantageous events and festivals. In this case, in some cases, this will provide opportunities to further develop existing homegrown events and festivals or to expand them through collaboration between municipalities. It also helps with allowing for enhanced communication and coordination between the municipalities about our events and festivals. Destinations do retain the autonomy to manage their own events and festivals or to opt to engage in collaborative efforts with Visit SLOCAL or other destinations in the county. So I just want to kind of like reiterate that because I know that was a major concern going into this process. Each destination, you do still retain your autonomy. We were just going to provide you, this strategy will just provide you with the best tools and resources to allow you to make the most informed and strategic decisions regarding what events and festivals you have. Lastly, but Visit SLOCAL is funding this effort, and so no additional investment is required from collaborating entities at this time. However, as you may have seen from your agenda packets and you might have remembered, we are asking that each of our destination partners sign a commitment to collaborate to allow for to basically, in the spirit of partnership, say that we're going to prioritize the use of the strategy as well as continuous involvement in the working group. I'm going to talk more about that in just a second. Lastly, what are the benefits for Visit SLOCAL since we are funding this effort? This will provide us with the strategic amplification of events and festivals throughout the county that's going to maximize occupancy in need periods, which supports the economic growth portion of Visit SLOCAL's mission. Also, the centralized calendar is going to reduce confusion and duplication of efforts, supporting our values of stewardship and future focus. Lastly, for this, it's the strategic alignment on key opportunities for events and festivals in the county will allow Visit SoCal to prioritize its partnerships with communities who choose to participate in these opportunities. So as I mentioned, what we're asking for today is for the commitment to collaborate. It is a partnership in the development and implementation of a strategy for tourism-related events and festivals. You will see in your agenda packets that the first page is broken into what Visit SoCal will agree to do and what the collaborators will agree to do. And those are 4 main points. Terry, she's not done with us yet. It's going to be a continued partnership and participation in the working group, the execution and advocating for the recommendations of the strategy, prioritizing the use of the strategy and the shared calendar, and to commit in principle to the continuation of this collaborative effort as the years go on. So I know that was a lot of information. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns?
Perfect. Thanks for that, Melissa. Do we have any questions from the board on the information?
Well, I would just wonder, is there I'm a kind of a show and tell visual learner kind of a person. Is there a place or an opportunity you could kind of see a little bit more about how this works? I'm sure you've had more detailed meetings. This is the abbreviated version. Is there a way to see something outside of this meeting a little more?
You mean like a mock-up of the strategy itself, Tom, or?
Yeah, or how this would kind of be implemented a little more, maybe. I think it's good. The overall strategy is really, maybe that's as far as we are right now in terms of how it's actually going to be implemented. So if the strategy, so to speak.
It's yes. Right now where we're at is basically an RFP has gone out to solicit proposals for an agency to create the actual strategy. And then the working group will be reconvened to kind of inform and guide what should be in the strategy. So we don't have any templates or mock-ups at this point. It will just be kind of incumbent of what comes out of those working group sessions as we continue to move forward. I can tell you that once we get moving forward, it will be a tangible document that we will be able to present to all of our destination partners at the end of this fiscal year or the beginning of next. So something that you can kind of flip through and just see what's been included in it.
Who is on this group that's working on it from our area here? You and Terry.
Yes, you and myself and Terry, well, Terry primarily represents Atascadero, but we have, right now we have 12 working group members, each destination partner from each of the regions, as well as some city and county stakeholders. And then we also are going to be expanding the working group to include event planners, event organizers, because we do need the kind of the boots on the ground feedback about what this looks like.
That sounds good.
Yeah, as well as some marketing members as well.
I'm satisfied, thanks.
Okay.
To give a little bit more structure to this, similar to what we did with Coraggio, Tom, when we went through all of the strategic planning with how this was going to look, there was so much that came out of that talked more about how it's going to be supported. And how we're going to work on what that looks like versus here's an idea, buy off on it. This had a lot more to it. It had a phase 1, phase 2 working group that went over all the concerns, the autonomy. You know, we don't want someone to tell us we can't do a tamale festival or we can't come up with another brainchild in the middle of the night. So it had more to what the outcomes will be, what everybody's looking for, and all of the issues going into it. The calendar, that's a big piece too, and just having that collaboration across all of our destinations.
Well, it was a good presentation, like where you're going, and Terry's involved, so that's good enough for me.
Thank you.
Any additional questions from the board? No. All right. How about any members of the public that are wishing to speak on this item? Does anyone have any comments or questions? All right. So the public comment period is closed. Do we have any board member comments? No. So seeing that, does anyone want to make a motion on this item?
What do you need from us on this?
Your approval to allow for Rochelle to sign on the commitment to collaborate.
And her commitment to collaborate might be going to council and it might not. It just depends on where she's at with that. But you're an advisory to council, so it's got to start here with TBID.
Well, I move we give approval.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Perfect. Thank you. Can we get a roll call, please, Amanda?
Of course. Board Member Alexander,
Yes.
Board Member O'Malley,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Ketchum,
Yes.
Chairperson Harden.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Melissa.
All right, we'll go right into the economic development update with with Phil, I guess, actually, right, on this one?
Yep, and I think Phil is.
I hope we hear from Mark too.
I'm just listening in.
Okay.
Hey, Mark.
Okay, and Phil, you're going to share your screen.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that so I
Okay.
can stick my head down. Let's give that a try.
If not, I got your back. If you need it.
Thank you. Let's give this a try. Let's see what we got here. What does it show on your screen? You see that? Atascadero
We
project
sure
overview?
do.
Yes.
All right.
Good job.
Well, I don't want to disappoint you too much today, but the first disappointment I'm going to offer you is you've got me instead of Lorelei. We're supposed to have Lorelei here, but you're stuck with me. So I'm going to try and make this really fun, show you some cool stuff that's happening. But what do you guys want to hear about? Just everything? Everything that's going on?
Haven't
Anything
heard about
special?
everything.
Just a quick update. There's even some stuff that I'm not going to show you in these pictures that's kind of a little bit of a behind the scenes tour that I'm going to give you after this. Kind of like, a little special stuff too. So don't let me forget about that because there's things happening every day that are super cool actually. But I'm going to start with the Del Rio area. Del Rio and El Camino Real, north in town. You've probably seen some dirt moving up there. It's going to get a little messy for a while. A lot of new business. There's a spectacular new restaurant coming into the northwest side there. It's called a Taco Bell. Don't know if any of you heard of that restaurant before. I think we have one in town already, but hey, why not have two when you can have two? That's probably one of the, the least interesting things going on there. But I will tell you, there is a big new tenant coming to that location at Del Rio. I'll show you where that's going to go. There's actually 3 major projects happening. One of them is called the Del Rio Marketplace. One of them is called the Barrel Creek Project. The other one is called Del Rio Ranch. 3 big properties, one of them owned by Clint Pierce, the other one now owned by Cal Coastal, which was formerly the Walmart site, and the other one on the other side of the freeway, west side of the freeway, the Barrel Creek site, owned by a development team out of Fresno, and also in concert with the church that has owned that big property. All 3 of those properties I just mentioned, primarily vacant right now, all 3 slated for some pretty substantial commercial development. And all 3 of those projects are kind of a combination of retail and I'll use the word experiential, with interesting stuff happening, even some residential mixed in there. So let me show you, let me drill down a little bit. Del Rio Marketplace, that site is in the Del Rio specific plan. That's the northeast corner of Del Rio and El Camino Real. So it's that big flatter property on that north side, on the east side of El Camino. That is the one that Clint Pierce owns. Total sites, just less than 7 acres. It's actually going to have its main anchor right now at this point be a Valley Fresh market. You've probably been to California Fresh. You've heard of California Fresh, a nice high quality market. Our closest one is down in Slow. That one's a little more student oriented. This one will be more oriented to Atascadero. They're going to have a restaurant space in there. They're going to have a lot of good food in there. And there's other retail uses planned for that center. It's also going to have some office and it'll also have some mixed use with the residential upstairs. So kind of a unique mixture, and it's a really neat design. I've seen the concept design. It's got a lot of pedestrian spaces, a lot of neat stuff. So that's looking good. Across the street from that, Del Rio Ranch, that's the former Walmart site. This one was approved by our city council a few months back to be another, I'll call it experiential. It's got some kind of entertainment retail. It's got some lodging, and primarily some lodging in the form of RV lodging, places you can pull an RV into, places you can stay in a preset RV, kind of like Flying Flags or kind of like Cabo Robles, and then some places for people to gather, small conference facility, microbrew potential, that kind of thing. That site's kind of sloped. And so some of this stuff will take advantage of the views, some of it will take advantage of the kind of location and proximity, but finally a location, I think, in Atascadero where it can be a draw for all those RVs we see traveling to 101 that are heading to the coast. So I think that the owners feel there's a good opportunity to capture that here while having some on-site amenities and some really good views. So a really neat project, Del Rio Ranch. It's also going to be buffered at the back by a single family residential project, about 80 homes. Huge property, and that's going to be interesting. That comes along. That officially just closed escrow. It's no longer in Walmart ownership. That happened a couple weeks ago. So super exciting news on that big property.
Hey, Phil, if I
Yeah.
can insert a quick question, just simple, on when you have recreation vehicles, do they pay TOT for a space that they park at?
Yes.
Does the Elks Lodge pay TOT for their spaces?
I don't know. That's a really good question because Elks is a little bit of
Find
a
that
different
one
breed.
out for us anyway. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm curious because we want the TOT. All of our vacation rentals in town now pay TOT. I think that should make our hotel and lodging operators happy. It makes us happy as well. It should be a fair playing field out there, right?
Yep, thanks.
Barrel Creek, this one is on the west side of the 101. That's the place that we see the Quonset hut now that's doing the food bank stuff, storage there. This one's a big project. It's going to be a lot of residential across the street from the Apple Valley homes, kind of some single family homes like Apple Valley, about 25 of them. And then it's going to be what we'll call this restaurant / light manufacturing zone. Whoever thought that restaurants come along with manufacturing? Well, it was a hit in Tin City. I think they're trying to replicate that here with, spaces that can accommodate, it might be a cheesemaker, might be a glass person, might be a bakery, might be a restaurant, might be a winery, might be a brewery. They're creating spaces like that with these walkable spaces between them. And then it's going to be anchored by a hotel way at the far north end. And sort of it'll be across the freeway, pretty much same proximity as the Hilton Home to Suites. And then some apartments mixed in there, things like that. Really interesting project right along the freeway. This is a property that for a long time has been envisioned to be a commercial site anyway. So this one's interesting. They've been working on this for a year. We've got some traffic hurdles to get through, but they're making progress, and it's a very interesting design. Emerald Ridge, I think a lot of us have seen that come along. That's purely apartments. The very first phase has been completed now and starting to lease. It's pretty cool. It's a really nice high-end project. Not affordable housing by any means. There's 3 or 4 other phases that yet to be going on. So a lot of people will be living up in this area near the Del Rio commercial node. This is just south of the property, the Del Rio Ranch property we were just talking about. And if you drive up El Camino, across the street from sort of the area near where Joe Bella Coffee is and all that, you'll see this new apartment project going in. So a lot of new residents being able to come into town.
Phil?
Yeah.
If I could just inject you, I didn't realize you were moving fast past Del Rio. A lot to talk about. When you showed that display out at the Del Rio area, it looks like there was an outdoor amphitheater kind of a setting. Is there going to be area for outdoor entertainment? I just saw in one of the farther back, there was a picture right there. Is that an outdoor entertainment area?
Yeah, they're in their proposal right now for Del Rio Ranch. There is an outdoor entertainment area. There is also one in the Barrel Creek area, a really small one. Both of them are smaller, nothing along the lines of Vina Robles or anything, both along the lines of less than 100 people, but the kind of thing where someone could do, you know, a speaking event, someone could do some light music, someone could do a gathering or performing arts, really small, really out.
I like all of that, and the more places you can do stuff, the better. However, there's an issue that all venues are confronting, and I brought it up with your city manager, that right now the city's noise ordinance, which is getting under a little bit of fire from some folks operating a vacation rental, trying to do events too without a CUP. But is the city going to consider revisiting the noise ordinance, which currently would limit doing outside sound? You know, and there's some fairly strict rules. Most surveys I've seen with neighborhoods are okay with things going later than the city ordinance actually allows, but the time to get that better for venues is now, not later, after there's a lot of complaints about something, because there'll always be a bad apple, but I think it would be reasonable to be a little longer than what you have. So when they are looking at this project and others, that's something maybe to keep in mind.
Yeah, it's not on the radar right now. And I think it is certainly an issue when you've got these projects mixed in with a residential neighborhood. Now, these projects are kind of creating their own new neighborhood, and they're all within zones that are essentially at a commercial site close to the freeway. So there's going to be some more flexibility on these particular locations, but you bring up a great point. It's a bridge we haven't crossed yet with our current council, and I think it's worth looking into.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So moving on from Emerald Ridge, kind of moving a little further south in the town, we talked about Del Rio, a lot of things happening there. And as we move closer into downtown and we cross over by San Anselmo, just south of the Kmart Center, you've all seen the Grand Oaks community. It's coming together. It is now partially done. They're finishing out the rest of it. It's going to have a little bit of commercial in front of it. It's kind of a mixed use project. It's a really neat project. It's gotten a lot of attention just because it's these independently owned little houses. Each one is going to be for sale. There's some mixed use, there's some shared space on it, kind of a new concept, and it's turning out to be really, really popular. And so we might see a little more of that trend and see where that goes. Now, the big one, downtown. We're right downtown. I hope by now you've all heard about this downtown enhancement project. I hope you're not scared of it. It's a very positive thing. Our city council approved it about a year ago in concept. We're now going after the construction drawings. We have secured funding for it. Essentially, the city is going to be pumping $7, $8, $9 million into the downtown to make this concept happen, with the intent of bringing in 130 parking spaces, making it a lot safer, getting rid of the freeway feeling, new landscaping. It's a proven concept that really enhances commerce. So this is a big one. This one could start next year. It's going to be a little bit of disruption at first for the traffic. And then it's going to be the greatest thing ever. It really is. I'm really looking forward to this happening. That's a really big notable item that's happening. Of course, you've seen La Plaza. It's coming along. It's got a few tenants coming forward now. We're working on the tenant improvements for our first big Italian restaurant. There's a couple other restaurants that I can't tell you about yet, but they're really exciting. In addition to the rooftop bar that's going to go in there. Multiple apartment units that are going in here. Some will be used as vacation rentals, but not many. But that's happening. That's really coming together right alongside our new plaza.
Another one, Phil, sorry, but I know the one thing when all of this redesign on the parking and streetscape, which I think is all a very good idea, the city had also looked at dealing with some of the underground water retention that there's currently, I assume the water board still has requirements for dealing with water issues on developing sites. Is the city going to be doing more of that underneath all of this when they do all of this, or did that kind of fall by the wayside?
That is going to be a component of this. So in other words, we have what we have adopted in draft form is called a downtown watershed management plan. And our hope is to incorporate some components of that watershed management plan into the landscape areas in that project so that we can mitigate the need for that to occur on each individual site. Great thing to bring up, because as it stands now, people that build individual projects, they have to accommodate their stormwater retention on their individual properties.
Very expensive. So this is a very good economic development.
So back to that downtown plan, that is one more component that plan incorporates to really help support additional new business in downtown. Good point, Tom. Thank you. If you haven't been to H&L yet, you should check it out, especially on Friday night when they have the DJ. The shipping container courtyard is what it was really called, but great little project. It's been so popular, super good spot across from the Carlton downtown. And now they have food service that's supplied into it from Colony Market and Deli, and a food truck that parks there quite commonly. So really, really popular trend. Dove Creek, that 5-acre vacant parcel way at the south end of town at Santa Barbara Road. Something's happening there too. We've got a proposal on that property for a mixed use project. It's going to include some residential, a little bit of neighborhood serving commercial. No longer a hotel in that project. That was originally a concept, but that is no longer a piece of it. But still something happening on that property. But at the same time, we're doing all of these big development projects. We're also doing, we just finished a housing element. We're doing an affordable housing study to see if we need to promote some additional financing for affordable housing. The state's making us do a whole ordinance on accessory dwelling units. And at the same time, we're creating stock plans that you can get from the city for free if you want to build an accessory unit. That's a good thing to know. We got a grant to do that. We're going to supply those plans. You can come in and pre-order plan A, B, C, D, E. And so it'll save you $10,000, $20,000 of fees and architect time to get one of those plans and be able to build that. So that's really neat. Then we're creating this whole new set of standards for being able to do lots of any size or shape in certain districts in the city, and some design standards that'll go along with that. But the big piece of the whole puzzle, you probably heard a little bit of this discussion, is a whole new citywide general plan update. As if we didn't have enough going on, I think it's time to rewrite the whole general plan. Why not? It's fun. So we're going to be doing that. And that's going to take 2 years. We've hired a consultant, MIG, out of Pasadena to help us out. We're going to be doing a ton of outreach. All of you, if you're a member of our community and our TBID, will be involved in this process. We will invite you to be involved. So as much as you can, keep an eye out for the next hearing on that. It means that it's a chance for us to rethink the next 20 to 25 years of our city. Not that we need to. I think it's going great as it is, and we don't want to change it. But it's a chance for us to secure what we have and to retain it. That's the way I see it. So that's what's happening on the planning standpoint. Now, there is a couple other things that, Lorelai's not here. There's our contact info. Little things that are happening that we just got contacts from recently. It sounds like we're hearing rumors that the Winter's Garage building is in escrow. That could be amazing. I hope that happens, because that's been one of our big vacant buildings downtown. And the site that Flum's Muffler Shop is leasing right now is for sale. So could be Flum's Burger Shack in the future, who knows? I'm just planting seeds for a cool idea, but we're hoping something neat happens there, because that's kind of our gateway across from the Carlton. And then lastly, we just got contacted by Tesla, and they want to add 20 supercharging stations to our downtown at a different lot than what they have now. So we kind of have our eyes and ears open for maybe a spot like the B of A site that seems to have 100 spaces of unused parking, or maybe in Colony Square where Peter Hill hasn't developed his vacant sites forever, next to Wildfield's Brewery. either way, we think it's a good way to get people to come into our downtown and use our services and restaurants and bring in more people off the highway to see what's happening here in Atascadero. So that's all I want to take the time to tell you. There's a lot of other cool things happening. I can't believe that it's been such a busy year, given that all the other impacts we've had from COVID and everything else, and everything being virtual. But at the same time, people are doing things. So there you go.
Thank you, Phil.
Perfect. Thanks, Phil. Do we have any questions or comments from the board? I just want to say I'm excited about all these things. This is like, it's really exciting to see all the things that are up and coming, and I think it's going to really just push us in the right direction. So bring it on, I think. So
I'll second that.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Well, Phil, you must have a really good city council right now.
Yeah, but we're missing one of the good guys though too.
That was a little slow, Phil. That was a little slow.
Yeah, well, there's a delayed reaction with my computer. That's all it. Hey Tom.
Oh, that was it. Okay.
I need to talk to you, Tom, because there is something happening downtown with these little lots across the street from us where we demolished a yellow structure recently. And we're going to be designing some zoning policies for that and giving some property away or selling it cheap. So you and I should talk.
Yeah, like I'm free right now, but
You're not.
I don't want to share with
Hang on.
the internal stuff. So
call me.
I'll do that. Thank you. All right.
Perfect. Do we have any members of the public that want to speak on this item?
Yeah, I just have one question on the TOT tax. So the Elks, the Elks members get to use those spaces for a very little fee. How's the TOT tax going to be based on?
I'll look into that, Mark, because that's something I'll get with Jerry on. I'm gonna get Phil off the hook with that. Even though he's your point person to ask, I'll check into where we're at with the Elks.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Well, it's an important precedent because it's going to be happening more.
Yeah, absolutely. I have it on my list. So, yeah.
Perfect. Any additional members of the public wishing to speak on this item? Nope. So we can go ahead and close the public comment. Any additional board member comments?
Good job, Phil, and we're really glad you're working for us instead of San Luis.
Thanks, Tom. I'm glad to be here. I'm having a great time.
Perfect. I think we can go ahead and receive and file, and just thank you for your time, and we can move on to the budget overview with Terry.
All righty. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen really quickly here so we can talk about where we're at with our expenses. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Very good. Okay, so I want to bring your eyes to the year-to-date actual number for 2021, 2022. These are all of the revenues that have come in through 12/31 of 21. So with that 114,000, there's been more revenue received if we had this document up to like February 9th, but because all of the expenses are through December 31st, this is all consistent with what has been received through December 31st. And as you all know, we're accrual, so these numbers will change as we go. But what we have here, we have our 114,000 with the revenues, and we're budgeted a lot higher. We're coming in a lot higher. So we'll see that in a minute on our TOT report. And then your expenses that you have here and how they're broken out, we are going to add an event expense job cost. So you all can see how your event revenue rolls up with the rest of the revenue for advertising as well as contract services. And then the administration fee that we do with, what's happened so far, which will be less than the 2,700 because of HDL, and we'll have more to come on that. So right now, total expenses are at 115,506 through 12/31 of 2021. 308,540 is where you're budgeted at. So right now, this is all evolving. We're basically halfway through your fiscal year. And now we're starting, obviously we're in February. So next month you'll see January. And then the other pages in your report show through 11/30 of 2021. and then 10/31 of 2021. So you can see, you know, how that has progressed and gone to the most current time frame right here. The other part that we have is our expenses, where you have all of your expenditures of what's come in so far. And these expenditures are through 12/31 of 2021. And you can see the different dollar amounts that have come through under your expenditures for the entire year. And this report marries up to the overall expense summary report that I just showed you. So I'm not going to scroll through all of this, but doing where we pull everything into one document for your events will be helpful for you all to see where things are falling. And then you won't have to scroll through this as much because you'll have it rolled up on the expense summary report. Here at Juice Festival, you can see it's at 5,000. We had that EDI study that we're part of, the 12,500. Our sponsorship from California Mid-State Fair at 3,750. So all these expenses are in there that you could see have happened as we've gone through. Digital advertising revenue or expenses that have gone out with Verdun, consultation, all of that is listed in there for you guys to take a peek at when you have time. On the TOT report, this, a lot of you have asked me at one time or another, is this 10%? Is this 13.5%? This is 10%. This is the 10% TOT tax revenue that comes through. So you can see right now, October through December is 445,471. And this is what's been received through February 9th, because that's when I get this report. Actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, February 9th. February 6th or February 16th is today, but the February 9th timeframe, that's what this reflects. So we're still receiving some of the second quarter revenues coming in, but at least you can see where we're tracking and you know how the revenues are up significantly. So you're going to see that eventually on your TBID expenditure report, which I'll flip back to, excuse me, one sec, is this one right here. You'll start seeing all these numbers start populating there. Does anybody have any questions on that?
Is your finance department concerned about us drawing down reserves? Are we kind of doing okay on, you know, it looks like we're kind of coming back, but we're still, looks like we are reducing reserves. So we're basically spending more than we have coming in, which we probably should look at this before we give away money to people too.
Actually, this number hasn't caught up with itself, Tom, that revenue number. So once that catches up, it's not, we're not spending down reserves. If anything, we're doing super well. You all are doing super well with, you know, the revenues that are coming in from your guests and lodging stays being a little healthier than they were a year ago today, that's for sure. So we're seeing that come back around. So as we get through the year a little more, this number will change. So that's why I wanted to let you know we're not at all worried about it. And flipping back to the TOT, you can see that here, and you can see how that's increased. So I also will show you really quick what I have pulled together for finance. What I'm sharing right here, if you guys can see, it's the at-bid event summary draft. It's a Word doc. Do you see that? Okay, because I flip screens, I never know if it's cooperating with me or not. This shows what we have invoiced to date for the 2021-22 fiscal year. So total commitment to date that you all have done with events, and I'm including the mural project as an event, which actually hasn't been billed, is $53,750. You had a Mid-State Fair sponsorship that was reduced by half in 2021 that the city splits with TBID. Normally that's $7,500 for city and $7,500 for TBID, because that includes the buses and where we locate the buses as a group, not as by hotel per se. So for those of you wanting to get your own buses, it makes sense that you're doing that. I haven't talked with Mid-State Fair, so that'll be on our list to come. But this also gives you, like, Fall Fest was only $5,000. We approved it in September of last year. It was billed late September of last year, which is our fiscal year now. Garage East Festival, Atascadero Fall Fest 2022 will come out of this fiscal year. They need money to promote that, obviously, so that's how that typically works. Unless you tell me otherwise, I can bill it a half and half. But I feel like you're okay expense-wise. And then Central Coast Craft Beer Festival, that one was approved for 5, and then Bovine Classic we just approved for 10. And again, they'll need money to start promoting that event. There's good news today from Travel Paso that they're supporting it as well. So we will be able to move forward with the Bovine Classic. So that, or yesterday's approval anyway. That's exciting. So far, totally of 53,750 that are in events. We heard from Atascadero Wine Festival today, Cider Festival. I'm reaching out to Bristol's to see what's happening with that. Wine Speak, I don't foresee happening in the immediate future. However, I'm hopeful, and I know Tom, you've talked to the Whitstroms and Doug Villaboni on maybe possibly doing that future. It'll be hopeful. Just right now, that's where we are. And then Spartan, I believe it was 5,500. I forget how much we did for that, so I'll have to double check it. That money, I believe, already billed way back before COVID. So I feel like I don't think that's going to be something that we owe unless I'm missing something. I have to look back on that one. So this is a draft. I'm going to get with finance to job cost out events as a total. So hopefully what I keep track of individually should roll up to what we have invested so far with events. And I think that's important because that complements your marketing efforts with Verdun and all of the good efforts they're doing with digital and the itineraries and the website and all of the stuff that is happening. So with that, hopefully that's helpful. I don't know if you have any questions. We'll add this as an exhibit to our minutes. I wasn't able to get to it fast enough, but I could add it here at least and get back to you all on what that looks like.
Well, Madam Chair, I do have some questions on that page if we have time. I don't know how we're doing for what we need to get done. I could follow up with Terry later if need be.
And I can bring it back too.
Well, just overall, and I can ask you later, we could talk about it another time. I'm, like I said, I think it'd be good to follow up on Wine Speak. I have talked with Doug Filipponi a time or two on this. And, I think something will have to change from what it is. And I think it'd be good, if you haven't, maybe we should get some folks checking in. I know they're trying to get a replacement person. I don't know how that's going to transition, but I keep hoping something will come of that. I'm not sure. You'd mentioned the 20,000 Atascadero Fall Fest as if like there might be an option to split that, or I'm not sure why you mentioned it, but since you did, is that something that we don't need to pay for all of that? Even though I think it's a wonderful idea.
I can check in with Andres to see, because the event itself falls in the 22-23 fiscal year, but then they need to be promoting as well. So I can get with him on how that billing should take place and report back to you all on that.
Because maybe it could be split, or maybe, I don't know if that makes any difference. And then there was one other question I had. That's good enough. I forgot. So quick move before I remember.
No worries. Anyone else have, well, go ahead, Patricia, I'm sorry.
No, I'm good. I was just seeing if anybody else, any other board members with any additional questions. No, okay, so we can open up to any members of the public wishing to speak.
Oh,
If not, go ahead, Tom.
okay. I was wondering again, if you can roll back to that previous slide, Terry.
Yeah, events.
I was kind of confused on the 5,000 Wine Festival passport. Is that kind of what we did last year?
Last year, it was billed out May of 2021. So it billed out last year. I just was saying what you have coming up.
Yeah.
That hasn't been accounted for yet. I want to make sure you all see what I see, and we're not forgetting anything or missing anybody. on these events that, you know, they actually, the only other one that I have is the Cattle Women's Association Burgers and Brews event,
Oh,
but I
yeah.
haven't heard much from them. So it would be all brand new again. We never did the event because of COVID.
Okay. What was it? Wasn't that like 1,000 or something? Wasn't it?
Yeah, I think 5. I have it handy. I just,
Okay,
um,
that's fine. Yeah, I just.
yeah, no, $500. It was $500.
Yeah,
So it wasn't
it wasn't
a
much.
lot. Yeah. All right.
All right, any additional board comments? All right, I think we can just receive and file on this one. Thank you, Terry. And then we can roll right into IPW, Terry and Ashley.
Hi, I'm gonna click on the registration form here. There we go, for IPW. So we have an opportunity to be a part of IPW, and this has been an event, International Powwow. It's the conference that happens annually in June. There's obviously, it's back in place again for June 4th through the 8th of 2022 in Orlando, Florida. Our deadline to complete the registration form to visit SLOCAL is Friday, February 25th. You all had basically in 2019 IPW, there was a lot of back and forth with the co-op opportunity at Disneyland Resort in Anaheim. So what I believe what ended up happening is we had our collateral there and we had a presence there, but that co-op changed quite a bit from when it actually was executed to when it was actually in place, but we did have a presence there. In March 2nd of 2020, we did approve 10,000 to attend the IPW event in 2020, and then it never happened. So that's kind of a little history on IPW. We've always wanted to be at that event. It's a huge opportunity for us. And I believe now, you know, we have an additional hotel property since then. And just, again, more opportunity, you know, more tourism and everything that's happening in our county to really be there. So this would be an opportunity to really, you know, engage and, you know, capture all of the different groups and different business that's there, as far as, you know, the leads and different things that come out of it and group itineraries and all that. So it's an important part of obviously our meetings and bringing meetings into our area and providing options and having a face there. So that's where we're at. We wanted to bring this forward to you guys to look at again for going into 2022. And Ashley was like, we need to give this approval by the end of the month. So I didn't want us to lose the opportunity and the reason why this was amended. And then if Ashley, if you're still on the phone and you can talk, if you want to add anything to it, that would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So just a little history. Visit Atascadero actually did go in person. I actually went in your behalf in 2018 in Denver.
Oh, you did? Wow.
I did. As Visit Atascadero in the booth, typically we have Pismo Beach, Paso Robles, City of San Luis Obispo, and there's a handful of us. And what we do is we're meeting with roughly 30 to 40 tour operators every single day for a 3-day period. We have scheduled appointments that we work with in conjunction with SLOCAL. We have specific collateral materials we get to bring. And really the job there is to really introduce people to the destination, get them excited, get them to understand what we can deliver, what does our assets look like in activities. So you did go at Denver IPW, and then it was in Anaheim, and Big Red at the time went for Visit Atascadero. So you have attended twice. And I will say, I'm just getting back from Visit California's Outlook Forum, and we just listened to 12 of the international offices in a roundtable of all of the international travel that is expected to come back. There's a lot of pent-up demand for our international market. A lot of them, especially in UK, there's 5 re-engaged markets already being developed with Visit Atascadero, but through Visit California. And I know the UK market was one specifically that they were talking about, that they're going to probably see a lot more travel. They're expecting a lot more travel this year because they had a lot of vacation time accrued. So they have up to 30 plus holiday days to spend this year to travel because they haven't been able to travel prior. So they're ready to travel. We also heard from the China market, Australia, India, Mexico, Germany, Korea. There's a lot of different insights. I have a whole list of notes that will be sharing with Terry as well to get us to just understand the international market and how that's going to play out. The one key thing I think is going to be very different, and why I suggested we bring it to the board, is FIT. That's going to play a big role. People are doing a lot of individual tours rather than group tours. They're expecting pretty much no more than 10. It's going to be 10 or less groups as far as the amount of people, but they're still going to want to have, a set space. They're still going to want to have, a destination and a hotel that can work with these tour operators to come, midweek, off season, the time when we really need it most. So all of that information was very exciting to hear. It's definitely encouraging since the international market has been closed for so long. And with SlowCal going to IPW this summer, it's a good opportunity to bring it to the table, hear your thoughts, and see if Visit Atascadero is interested to attend this year.
Very good. Also, too, in 2018, do you remember what was spent? Because what I show when we look back at our minutes, the 2019 in January, the co-op of 10,000 was declined. So I'm looking at actual dollars and trying to figure out what was actually spent. So may be neither here nor there for this, but I want to be able to get an idea, and I can do that homework on the side, Ashley, with you, and looking back at that. I just want to make sure that we have that amount, that dollar amount that we need to be looking at.
Yeah, absolutely. Travel is a little bit different. Usually the expenses there, I think it was like $5,000.
Okay.
But the booth, I know that you see there, that's the registration form. There is this booth, all of the different booth information, and I can't see on my phone here the expense for the actual hard cost to SlowCal to attend. I believe it's $3,220.
Yeah, it's $3,220. It says that on here, that the $4,500 includes $1,280 registration fee and an estimate of $3,220. That includes shared double booth registration design cost. So that's that inclusion. And then we would have to figure airfare and then attendance if one person attends. So that's correct. Where I guesstimated $6,000, but then you all approved March 2nd of 2020, 10,000 of up to 10,000. So that might be something that we want to provide some flexibility in that, should you all decide you want to have a presence and us attend, or Ashley attend IPW, or both of us, or whatever you want to do.
Perfect. Any questions from the board?
Yeah, I was talking while I was muting myself, so you were lucky. Do you have any ballpark idea of how much per person to attend? Is it, I can't quite tell if it's 5,000 or 10,000 or somewhere in between. And
I have like 2,000 a person if you're looking at hotel stay and airfare. So if you're sending one person plus the 4,500, that's like 6,500 basically. Okay. So if you sent another person, then
just another 2,500 or so per person. You're going to pay the 4,500-ish to participate, and then it's correct. An additional, let's say, 3,000 max per person on top of that.
Max.
Well, I would just throw out there, because I don't know enough to have a lot to say, but I think it's a very good idea for positioning us for the future. This is probably the best investment right now to get in on, I think, an expanding market, that it'd be good for our folks to know what we want to do. This is a time I would think it might be worth sending Ashley and Terry both on this one. So I'll see what other people have to say, but that, I'm guessing it's around 5 plus, probably about 10,000. That's probably why they budgeted about 10,000 in the past. That's probably covers 2 people. Any chance the city would kick in some, since it's a good economic development piece?
I can definitely touch base with Rochelle. It would come out of my marketing budget. So I'd have to look at that and make sure that we're getting, you know, the value all across the board, which I feel we would be. I mean, that's something, and Ashley knows how I am with sales. So.
Well, didn't she used to work for you in sales at the Tribune?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I worked for her probably.
Well,
she got me running.
You'd be a great team.
Yep. It'd be good training, I guess, huh, Ash?
It's a great experience to just get, I think people are looking for what we have to offer. What we heard a lot was they want to go to off the beaten path places. No longer are the times which our gateways are seeing the biggest challenges. Our gateways are struggling with the international market because they don't want to go to highly congested areas where there's a lot of people. They want to spend time outdoors. They want to spend time in places that people don't know about, off the beaten path. They're looking for that experience. So if we know that they have plenty of time, they've got vacation days to use, and they've got a ton of money. When they were talking about all of the specific finances and the economies in each of these countries, it is pretty incredible the amount of money these people are willing to spend when they're in market. So they're ready, they have the dollars to do it, and they're looking for our product.
Perfect. Any additional questions from the board? Okay. Any members of the public wishing to speak on this item? We can close the public comment period. Any additional board member comments? No. All right. Do we have a motion on this agenda item?
I will go ahead and move we fund the attendance by Ashley and Terry up to $10,000. And if that doesn't quite make it work, we could reconsider, but maybe Terry can make up any difference out of her marketing budget from the city. Is that realistic, Terry?
Yeah, that's realistic.
Okay. Do we have a second on that?
Okay, we'll just give you 2,000 like the chamber.
Sorry, yeah, I'll second.
All
Sorry,
right.
I couldn't get unmuted. I was going to second also.
Same.
Okay, good. I was worried there for a minute.
Like, no.
Worried. I'm like, uh-oh, okay, take me out of it.
Forget Terry.
Forget me.
We don't want Terry going to Florida.
Don't worry.
Can't
might not
stay.
come back.
Free somewhere.
Well, that's just it. I could probably make it less just because of the airfare part. So there's another opportunity.
Okay, you got a motion.
Perfect.
Second.
Perfect. We do. Can we get a roll call, please, Amanda?
Absolutely. Board Member Alexander,
Yes.
Board Member O'Malley,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Ketchum,
Yeah.
Chairperson Harden.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Perfect. Thank you. We will move on to the agenda updates. First, we got Visits Locale with Camille.
Hi, guys. Let me just
There
share.
you go. I'll let you share, Camille.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So I just have a couple brief updates on Black History Month and on the 2022 Visitors Magazine. Okay, So for Black History Month, which is happening right now, for our campaign, we are building off of our Black History Month blog that we did last year. And so this year we hired a Black local freelance writer to add 3 new businesses to the blog. And so the 3 Black-owned businesses that we featured this year were Hush Harbor Bakery in Atascadero, Indigenous Cellars in Paso, and then Ebony Restaurant in San Luis Obispo. And so we were able to go into Hush Harbor and take these awesome photos and have our freelance writer, Kristen Thiessen, kind of tell their story, which is really awesome to hear about and see. And then you could see down here to the right, we made our consumer newsletter completely Black History Month themed this year. And we actually got a lot of great feedback, which we normally don't get a lot of feedback on our consumer newsletters. But this time we got a lot of feedback right off the bat, just saying like, you know, great job. Thank you so much for showing the representation and that kind of stuff. So it was just really great to see. But yeah, so it was great getting to see Hush Harbor, and Ashley, we are working to get those photos to you.
Thanks, Camille.
So moving on to the Visitors Magazine, we just created a brand new 2022 Visitors Magazine. It includes 84 pages of SlowCal. We included 3 trail maps that are perforated so that you could rip them out and travelers can take them with them. That includes the Antiques Trail, the Breweries Trail, and the Sustainable Wine Trail. And it also includes 7 custom itineraries, a wine tasting 101 article, and then QR accessibility throughout. And so those QR codes take everyone back to content on the slowcal.com website, which is awesome to see. And then if you haven't seen it in person, there is a digital component so that you could see the entire magazine online. So that's really cool to see. But if you do want to receive copies in hand for example, your hotel properties or whatever, there's a couple ways to do so. So if you just want 1 copy for yourself, you can go to the slowcal.com website and fill out our form and you can get it there. But if you want a lot of copies, like 50 copies, feel free to go through the SlowCal Connection extranet, which I believe many of you have access to that. And so, yeah, if you need more than 50 copies, feel free to contact our team member, Teresa, and she can totally get you all set up for that. But yeah, so we're really excited about the new Visitors Magazine, excited for people to start seeing it. And if anyone wants them, feel free to sign up via the extranet or reach out to Teresa. Does anyone have any questions? All righty, well, thank you guys. Thank you.
Teresa.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
All right, on to the marketing update with Ashley.
All right, well, we did have our marketing in Los Obispo with SlowCal. Oh, sorry, I was just making sure I was not on mute. In that, we had our kind of overall normal report from Kathy letting us know about our upcoming marketing retreat. So we will be meeting on March 8th to talk as a group about what we are looking to see and what that growth and future looks like for the destination and upcoming marketing campaigns. So Terry and I are looking forward to that. We'll be thinking about ideas and what we're going to bring to the table and how all of the cities work within that mix. And other than that, I know they are going out for RFP on public relations. So that currently is out right now. We saw a overall demonstration of Explore It. It's a new tool that SlowCal is using to share with meeting planners and groups to get people an idea, give people an idea of what our destination looks like. It's kind of a really interactive, immersive experience. We can send you guys the URL to check out. It's really creative. It's a unique way to, in the digital space, just visually see our area. And it has a really great view of Atascadero in there too. So we'll send you that and you can check it out. And then we have an Arrivalist presentation. So Arrivalist is one of the tools that SlowCal uses to get information on visitation that has either seen some of the creative sets that are deployed in all of our target markets. And so we had a presentation on how that's looking overall, and any trends and updates that we're going to be thinking about as we're coming into that retreat. And then just our normal travel, trade, and marketing update for SlowCal as an organization. So that's pretty much it from that. Terry, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I did get a one-on-one with Kyla on Explore It. So it might be something that we can show you all in our next presentation, just to give you like a quick, overview of it. If that makes more sense, we'll send you the link too, but it's kind of fun to check it out a little bit. And then we have our swag. So our swag is our little keychains here. And these are all in Atascadero, kind of follows our ad campaign, has the colors that we use with our branding for Visit Atascadero. So these have already been distributed out at Tamale Festival, and I can also bring all of you your own sets of hotel keys, if you will, to give to your guests as they arrive. That's another opportunity if y'all are interested in that. And then we'll have them for IPW and other stuff like that. So they're popular. And we got away from orange, or E.G. Lewis red, but hey, this is for tourists, not, greyhounds. Sorry, Mark.
I'm not a greyhound, so don't worry about it.
Okay, good. All right. Okay, do you want me to kind of keep going there, Patricia?
Yeah, go ahead. It's on to you.
Okay, so city business and administrative update. As far as event information, I shared that with you all already in regards to, trying to roll up events all together so you guys can see that. That's pretty much it. A lot of our stuff right now is all in event planning. We're bringing a new concert series to the downtown in April 2nd through the 23rd. It'll be Saturdays from 4 to 6 to get some activity here downtown. So that summer concert series, or not summer concert series, but spring concert series will kick off then. Brew at the Zoo will be back in person. So that's exciting. We're planning for that. And then we have obviously our Central Coast Craft Beer Festival coming up March 26th that we're all a part of that. So there's some things in the works. So more to come. We're working on an event calendar for 2022 as well. That will be out shortly. So I'll maybe make my rounds to all of you, make sure you have some of the swag items, the event calendar, and different things that might be helpful for your guests when they're there at the hotels. And that's it.
Sorry, trying to get myself unmuted there. Okay, so that's all of our updates then, correct? Or my
Ad hoc committee update for the TOT collection software billing and short-term rental platform review. We have our meeting now in place for March 3rd.
Yeah, meeting place for March 3rd with the hopes of updating at next meeting, right? For everyone?
Correct. Yes.
Perfect. So the update is no update yet, guys, but we'll have hopefully some more information for you next month.
There you go. And I don't see Josh on here, so I'll just chime in really quick. They have the Sweetheart Stroll Friday night. It was sold out at 350 people. And then we also have a new event in the downtown called At Her Table. That will be a nonprofit event having closing down Entrada between El Camino Real and Palma, having a band and all that on Sunday, March 13th. So another thing to, kind of come out and check out. So that's a part of the Business Improvement District. That's it for updates.
Perfect. Thank you. Any board member comments at this time? All right. Seeing none of those, we can move on to future agenda items. Are there any board member requests for changes or addition to the future agenda items list, which looks like it includes political action topics presentation by the mayor, spaceport presentation by Mayor Martin Moreno, the Garages Festival event recap and sponsorship, and then the Mid-State Fair sponsorship proposal. So any changes or additions to that? Nope. All right. Seeing no comments, I believe we made it through. Or Tom, you got something?
I was gonna check, Terry, are you hosting this for Zoom at your office there? Who's
For
hosting?
future,
Yeah, who's hosting this Zoom event?
this, me. I mean, you
Okay.
mean like hosting like right now? Yes,
Yeah.
me.
Yeah,
Yes.
I just wanted to try to catch Mark Derez at the end. After
Oh, okay. I mean, I can stay on and go away too.
Yeah, no, that'd be fine.
Okay. That works. So once we end it, I'll end the recording too. So you're not recorded.
Perfect. All right. I think if we don't have any other comments, then we are good to adjourn.
Good, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank
Everybody.
you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
What a great team.